my friends, and welcome back. This is Kev's Hobby Showcase. I'm, of course, Kevin, and you may also see me on Tabletop Jones Productions presents 2 Idiots Playing Board Games, where me and my friend John play miniature and strategy-based board games and have a great time doing it. Today, I'm going to be painting a bunch of minis that go with the game Federation Commander. This is a Star Trek game, goes with the original series, and basically, like from the Kirk and Spock era. Now, what I'm going to be doing today is ships belonging to the Gorn. Let me lift these up. Yeah, got a whole bunch of ships right here for the Gorn. Okay, now that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 8 ships here, and also from when I had this, when I had the previous version of this game, which is Starfleet Battles, I had a whole bunch of minis. Some I actually still have to go into all my stuff and find, so I might have more for another video later. But I found these 2 that are already primed with a white primer. I'm going to be using my gray one on these, and then so generally the way this goes for these, I mean these are made out of metal, pewter, so they can get heavy and they do topple from the base, because it's just like a well, I don't know if you could see it too well. Let me hold one up so you can see the base is not really at all that big, and then it's got just one little thing going up, and then you got to get it into the base of the actual miniature. Now, if anything, and I do mean anything, jostles what these things are on. So if you're playing and someone knocks into the table, they will topple over. They're nice and balanced, as long as nothing's shaking. And so, but anyway, it's, they also don't fall apart. The Gorn ships especially are generally in one piece. As a matter of fact, I don't remember ever having to even, use glue on anything but gluing it to the base. So, so the Gorn ships are generally just in one piece. They do that with a good number of the ships, where like the mold is basically just one piece, not a lot of add-ons to it. Like with the Federation, you'll have the nacelles that you have to put on. I think the same thing for the Romulan ships, and also Klingon ships. I mean, there's a whole bunch of different races. Some that we are familiar with from the shows, others that are I think were made up for the game. But sometimes they do make references to the one season of the animated show that they had, that was basically the continuation of the 5-year mission. So yeah. So I mean, generally everything's in one piece, but sometimes you'll have like a little bit to put on. Not too much though. It's usually assembly. The longest that it takes is because you have to actually balance things and make sure that they don't fall over while the glue's trying to set. So, but other than that, it's all good. So anyway, with a lot of these, I do have to prime them. So priming will be next, and then we'll move on to the base coat. All right, so just bear with me, and we'll get that done. Okay, I'm back, and I'm going to be priming the Gorn ships now. All right. So as you can see, we don't really need all that much. I mean, these ships are a little bit big. Oh, actually, I just realized, just saw that I missed a bit. Yeah, I want to try to get the entire thing so that I don't have a problem, painting it. All right. And the wind started to shift and blowing it back at me. It seems to happen a lot. Alright, pull it out here. Okay. Alright, we're moving now, right? Okay. Oops. Notice a little bit on the front saucer part. Yeah, that's the sound of one of these things toppling over. Like I said before, is not hard to have happen. But for the most part, they do stay together, especially these. I mean, one thing did happen earlier. I'm sure I've mentioned it on the video for it. Is the Federation ships that I have. I had 5 of them to prime and paint, but unfortunately, 2 of them didn't make it. 2 of them, when I'm trying to get out the door, fell to the ground and broke off the base. So I have to basically spend time reassembling those. All right, and that's all. That's every single Gorn ship that we're going to do, except for the two that are already primed. And so now, just gonna wait for that to dry. And next is going to be the base coat, which is pretty much going to be the other long part. Everything else is going to be quick. All right, stay tuned. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back, and after boasting about how these minis don't break while I was bringing it back inside from being primed, one of them fell and broke, and I gotta basically reassemble it. You know, I gotta put it back on the base. It's, you know, the whole thing was broken, so I gotta. It's a whole big thing, and it's better off I do it another time. But I know I have more Gorn miniatures somewhere from when I was doing Starship, Starfleet battles. I mean, so. You know, it's not so I can always do it when I do those. All right, so I'm going to start with the base coat. So let's get to it. Okay. So a lot of these ships, they say that, the base coat is gray. So luckily, I have different shades of different shades of gray. Not to be confused with the 50 Shades of Gray. You know. And with these Gorn ships, I still have quite a, I still have a good number of them. Once we get to the little details, it's going to go pretty quick. Okay. So I don't know how many people have seen the newer Star Treks, because they only showed the Gorn once in the original series, and it was that one where that alien race pretty much put on an alien planet Kirk and the leader of the Gorn ship, and they had to basically face off against each other, and they would basically, they're pretty much saying like whoever won would that ship would survive, and that they would destroy the other one. Of course, they wound up not destroying any of them. But in the newer ones, they show the Gorn very differently. They show them as actual like lizards, not so much as a humanoid lizard, but as actual lizards. Especially if anybody has had a chance to see Brave New Worlds on Paramount Plus. Almost dropped it. They pretty much showed them to be very, very lizard-like, not like I said, not like humans as lizards, but as lizards. And they made them to be very terrifying, which, given the nature of them, that's the way it should be. Now these minis, when I get the box of the minis, pretty much it's just you got to glue them to the base. That's pretty much it. There's no added pieces. There's no added nacelles. Nothing extra that has to be glued on. So when I'm having a tough time with the other minis and from the box set that I got it from, I'll just go to these, put these together just to feel like a sense of accomplishment. Okay. Actually, I'd like to give in this video a shout out to my brother-in-law, because not only has he been watching, not only has he subscribed, he didn't put it in the comments section, but he texted me directly saying how he loves it how, when I talk, I give a description of what I'm doing and I say why I'm doing it. So, I just want to thank him for noting that. I just wanted to mention it so whoever else is watching maybe give a thought to it. I say, oh yeah, he does do that, doesn't he? Okay. Alright, so so I got these and I got those other two that have the white primer on it. I don't even remember how long ago I did those, but that's probably from some of the minis that I had gotten when I was doing Starfleet battles instead of, Federation Commander. I mean, don't get me wrong on that game. It is a good game, very involved, very elaborate, but it is a good game. It's just that when I lost all those pieces when my basement flooded, I should say when I lost all the modules, everything that was paper that I lost when the basement flooded, I just didn't have the money to replace it, and this was not as expensive, except for the minis. Minis are always expensive, especially when they're all made out of pewter, because there's no plastic miniatures with these. And they do have some interesting things on the website when you go and look, if you want to buy directly from them, because they do have scenarios where you're up against certain things like monsters or different things. It's like I think there's a scenario called the Dreadnought where I think it's meant to be where you can also play it solo, because it's something that's like an automated thing. Then they actually have the Planet Killer, the big cone-like ship that the Enterprise had to wind up destroying. They have the amoeba that they were trapped in that one time. They do have a space eel, and people have made minis for these, and they are for sale on the website of Starfleet Games. Yeah, I never got the chance. Well, I haven't had the chance to partake in that just yet. One day I will. It's like I always say with my financial situation, it's not going to be forever. And when things start to clear up a bit, my activity on the channel, well, this channel and the channel I do with my friend John, is going to be greatly improved, because I'm going to be able to afford things for us to use. Right now, just making do with what we have. I was able to accumulate things before I had to stop. And I'll also be able to do more comic book reviews, because I'll have more comics to do reviews of. Alright, now here we go. We got the ones with the white primer. So it's going to show up better that I'm painting these gray, I guess. I just prefer to use the gray primer, to be honest. Not even sure why, I just prefer it. I mean, I've seen guys use black primer. And the problem I have with the black primer is sometimes that black bleeds through the paint that you're putting on top of it. And it just Makes everything, especially if you're losing, excuse me, if you're using light colors. And we got one more. One more, and then we'll take a break and let this paint dry. All right. Now, I mean, if anybody ever has anything to say about, you know, the stuff that I'm doing, about, you know, if you have suggestions or if you have questions, or you just want to, or if you just want to comment and, you know, to start a conversation, you know, please do. I mean, I do check. If you want to do something more direct, mention in the comments. I'll start posting an email address where you can get in touch with me. Because if people do start doing that, I will get more in the habit of checking my email, which I will admit right now I am not really in that habit. But if I'm going to get contacts from people that are watching, then yeah, I will check more often. Okay, brush, clean my hands a little bit. Let's get this put away. Let's get that off my head, and here we go. All right, so that's the base coat. Oh. That's the base coat, and we're going to let that dry, and when we come back, do all the little details of all the little things that are on the ship. Oh, ships. All right, so stay tuned. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Actually did quite a bit over the last break. Had to cook and make dinner for me and the kids. So, but anyway, I'm ready to go again. All the paint has very much dried. All that's left is do all the little details on the you know, for all the little components of the ships, and then basically fix up the base, and then we're done. All right, so put this on. All right, let's pipe this down. Okay. All right, let me get. I'm going to start off with the red. I'm going by the color scheme instructions. One thing they didn't cover was on these minis. There's like a bit at the front that's like a deflector dish. So I'm taking it upon myself to color that in with the red paint. And you got these on the sides here. Actually says they're torpedo launchers. And if I remember correctly, because I haven't played the game in a while, if I remember correctly, these, you know, the Gorn use the plasma torpedoes. So at some point I will be getting those ready to get a set of those, because when you're working with minis and you have those seeker type weapons, it's a lot better to, you know, it's like, you know, it's easier to have it rather than use a counter, to just have a mini of the actual thing, because it does take a while for it to make it to its target. Alright, so I'm going to just take care of the stem, because red is one of the colors that I use, and there's more than one type of this ship. And I'm trying to remember where the hell I get it. Alright. So, you know, again, I'm using the assembly line method, taking one color and going through all the ships with it. I mean, at the very least then, when I'm done, you know, I'll be able to put this color away. Alright, so like I said, I cooked dinner for me and my kids. Made pasta and meatballs. So I had to cook the tomato sauce. So I had that done. I think I had some of it cooking while I was doing the base coats. And then, so you know, well, the thing is when I do the sauce, especially if I'm having pasta and meatballs, I cook the meatballs in the sauce. That's how my mom always did it, so that's how I do it. I don't know, some people may do it differently, but that's how I do it. It's always worked out very well. Now, last week I actually forgot to get breadcrumbs for the meatballs. So, to try to make up for that little, you know, little mistake, I used, I put garlic and onion powder in the meatball mix. And, you know, kids are good about it. You know, they're like, oh, it's alright, it's alright. So I said, well, let me ask you something. I said, we'll make sure that we have breadcrumbs next week. So, do you want me to still put the onion and garlic powder in there? And they were like, yeah. Now, I didn't really hear a lot of raving about that today, but I do believe it was enjoyed. So, I think it went over pretty good. Okay, got that one done. Did a little bit of the stem there. Now, let's get this one. So some of these ships that I got here, it's like 2 of them. So one will be in, one of them, the stem will be in red, the other one will be in blue. I think only one of them, one of the types of ships I have available for this is, you know, has 3 of them. On that one, probably take out like green or something like that to do that 3rd stem. Yeah, so, as I was saying earlier, men should know how to cook. I'll always be a advocate for that, because you know I learned how to cook and I found out that I'm actually pretty good at it. I mean, don't get me wrong, I've had my share of mistakes while cooking. You know, everybody experiences that from time to time, but for the most part, I've usually done a pretty good job. And one thing my dad always told me, you always got to eat your mistakes. So, always got to be prepared for that. So you always try to do your best. That's one thing he always said. As my father, who pretty much taught me not only so much about barbecuing, but also about how to make beef stew. I don't get to make it, you know, often. I mean, when I was living at home, that was like our standard Monday meal, and it was, well, it was a standard Monday meal while the weather was cold. Because when it's warm, you know, it's just, you know, not practical to have that type of a meal. And I will say this: there was one evening, you know, it was in the winter and it started snowing, and we noticed that, you know, me and my dad noticed it was snowing. It was snowing, you know, really hard. It was coming down pretty hard. So we decided to go out there and get a jump on the shoveling. And this was right after eating beef stew. So we're out there and we're shoveling, and the two of us are huffing and puffing. I look at my father and I said, "Dad?" He's like, "Yeah." I said, "Next time we don't do this after beef stew." And we both had a good laugh. Alright, that's the last one for the red. Like this. Alright, let's go with the blue next. So the blue is going to go a little spot. It's a little spot right around here. It's going to be the impulse engines. So just a little, very little, but on this one we'll use a little on the stem. Yeah, so painting these is different from other minis that I've painted because it's like, you know, you don't have, excuse me, it's like I don't have to necessarily stop at every little interval. I could just keep going. So it's like once I'm done putting all these little bits on there, I could just go straight to getting the base ready. So, yeah, I think I've talked about my dad before. You know, me and him always had a really good time. And as I'm making this video now, it's getting close. Well, not getting close. It's almost football season again. And I reminisce about how he and I, well, it's like I would always be at my parents' house on Sunday. You know, after I got married. Of course, I was always there before that, and so my father would first he would do the dishes because my mother did all the cooking, and then, you know, he would start making the stew, and we'd start watching football games. I mean, usually the Giant game because, you know, we're Giant fans. If they had the early game, they have the 1 o'clock game, we'd start watching that. And, you know, just have a really nice time. Enjoying each other's company, watching the game. You know, and then once everything was done, we would move into the living room and watch the game there. Yeah, always cherish that time. The time that we had together. My father's no longer with us. And then, of course, as far as, you know, getting back to the cooking, you know, as I think I said it either in another video or maybe earlier in this video, I used to call my mom all the time, asking how to cook different things. You know, always ended those conversations with, "I'll let you know how it comes out." And most times I had good news for her, that it came out very well. Oh, I got these already. Oh, shoot, look at that. I was talking so much, didn't realize I was done with the blue paint. Okay. Alright. Let's put the blue away. Alright. Take out the brown. This little brown, it's what do they call it? Shuttle pads. But it's going to be little dots here and there, pretty much. Yeah, let's get a bigger brush. Get this one. Yeah, let me use this one. Okay. And it's pretty much these things on the side here. Got that on each side. This is just on the top. Okay. Yeah, my dad and I used to also watch the Rangers games together. We're both Rangers fans. I remember my brother-in-law, before he and my sister got married, every time he came into the house, Rangers would get scored on. Every single time. Got to the point where we're in the basement watching the game, and he could hear someone come in, and the Rangers got scored on, and he would say, "Did he just walk in the house? Tell him to leave." And I would hear him yell from upstairs, "Sorry!" What made it even funnier was that my brother-in-law is also a Ranger fan. I think I see something. Alright, so... Alright, this is going pretty good. So let's see, anything else? Oh boy. I don't think I've ever painted the Gorn this much before. So, yeah, I've been into this game for quite a number of years, and you know, I had limited access to actually using it because, you know, the problem that I've always mentioned about not having anybody to play the game against. Okay, but you know, nowadays I got the channels, so I'll be introducing it. I don't know how soon, but I will be introducing it. I already told John about it. Described the game to him. You know, he's open to it. He's always open to playing new games. Alright. Yeah, this assembly line method can help things go rather quickly. So, whew. All right, let's get this. Now, the one thing I will do before I go to the black paint is I'm going to take out the green again. I'm going to paint that one stem that has to be painted, so that I'm done with those, and all that's left is marking all the little areas that have the phasers, which is what the black paint for on the Gorn models. So I could do that and the base, and then these ships will be pretty much done. Okay. All right. So we're getting close. We're getting close to being done. All right. I'm going to let's put this away, and we're ready for the black paint. This is where it's all gonna come to a close. Get 2 brushes ready. All right. So, so basically any little dot that I see is supposed to be for a phaser. So we got one here. Got one here. It's not saying this is one, but I'm gonna, whoops, gonna get it anyway. Okay. Let's see some here. All right, now. Okay, let's get the base, and one by one, these Gorn ships are going to be finished, which is the beauty of assembly line. All right. There we go. So, not sure, like I said, how long it's going to take. Even when we start doing this game, Federation Commander, I'm not sure how long it's going to take to get to some of these empires in there. I guess it all depends on what me and John want to do, because there are some scenarios, some missions that require certain specific, empires. And I call them empires because I'm not really sure what else to call them, because some of them are empires, Klingon Empire, Romulan Empire. I believe the Gorge calls it a hegemony. And there's other there's other sides to choose from, like there's Tholians. It's really well. There's the Orion Crime Syndicate that also is used in the in this game. So there's definitely choices that can be utilized in this game. Okay. And I'm telling you, I'm almost forgetting already that part of the plan is to get the bases done. Well, because of that, it's a good thing I put down the cardboard, right? Because otherwise, every little drop that I drop will wind up being on the table. And then I gotta clean the table. All right, we're getting there. We're getting there. This is close to coming to a close. Yep. Oh, if I may add to the cooking comments I was making earlier. So I'm sure I've mentioned this, but you know, when you are divorced, like I am, knowing how to cook is a godsend. Because, you know, you're going to need to know how to cook in order to survive. And it is just that simple. Okay. Yeah, so, any of you out there, if you don't know how to cook, I do suggest that you learn. Because man's got to eat. And sometimes it's up to the man that he can't eat in order to be able to eat. There's also a certain amount of pride in being able to cook a nice, fulfilling meal for your family or any loved one, really. I mean, if at any time you are blessed enough to find a woman that you want to devote a lot of your time to, you know, knowing how to cook will go a long way. And if they don't appreciate it, well, it's up to you what to do, but in my opinion, if they don't appreciate that you know how to cook, might be time to go elsewhere. You know, always try to be with someone that will appreciate you in anything that you do, even if you don't succeed. Just appreciate the attempt. Because, let's face it, it's easy to just give up. And if you're not giving up, that should be recognized. Alright, look at that. We got 3 more to go. Okay, getting there. We are getting there. Down the home stretch. They pretty much made it simple with these Gorn ships as far as all this other little stuff that has to go on. So, you know, with what I just said earlier, I know it may sound harsh, saying if a woman doesn't appreciate you, maybe it's time to move on. But better that you do. You don't want to get stuck in a situation where even when you're trying, you're being treated like you're not. Because that is not fun. Oops. There we go. Oh. No, I think it's safe to assume I'm going to have a lot of black paint on my fingers. Alright, and we are down to the last one. Alright. Oh, for any of you who watched the video of me painting the Romulan ships, yeah, that one was, there was a lot more ships there. So this one, I'm sure, is quite a bit shorter by comparison. Although, without having putting these videos together yet, I have no idea what the runtime is. And there we go. Okay, so let's clean the brushes. Let's put the paint away. Let's get that off my face. Okay. I'm going to be very careful with this. I got all these pieces on this one little piece of cord, but there we go. There they are. I'm not going to turn them all. There's way too many. So there we go. Gorn ships. Not a big major player in the Star Trek universe. I almost said Star Wars. But they are a very interesting story, and I do hope that future shows try to bring more of them out, because, I mean, just to see, you know, just them, the Tholians, all the races that have not really been touched on too much, you know, I'm hoping that these shows bring them out, you know, a little bit more, because it'd be good to see. You know, it's good to see, especially with the new writers, to see what they come up with. So anyway, that's all I have for today. Hope you enjoyed watching this video. Please like and subscribe and share this video as much as possible. I'd like to reach as many people as I can. And please also check out Tabletop Jones Productions, where my friend John and I are the two idiots playing board games. And you know, please watch and like and share those videos as well, and subscribe, and you know, like I said, share those videos as much as possible, so we can broaden our audience. Give as much support as you can to the channels, and so you have a great day. I will hopefully see you very soon. All right, you take care. Take care.